Looks like we're on and popping. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday Night Live Deeper Dive here at Unity of Sacramento's International Spiritual Center. My name is Reverend Eric Ovid Donaldson. I'm the Senior Associate Minister here at Unity of Sacramento. And here with me tonight is none other than Dr. Christy Higgins. How are you?
So glad to be here with you. I'm great.
Good, very good.
Yeah.
Have you dried off from all that rain we had earlier in the week?
I've managed to do just that. Yes, I have.
Yes, I still got some damp spots that I'm trying
It's
to
been a lot.
trying to get dried off from. That was something else. It's good to see that we're having a little more rainfall after the drought that we experienced. For those of you who have been concerned about California, I'm here to attest, and Dr. Christie as well, that we're still here.
Yep.
You know, I know we've been in the news quite often with all of the rain and atmospheric rivers. Is that what they call it?
That's what they're calling it.
Yes, yes. So we're still here, and we're still live, and we're still going to do our thing here. So go ahead and get a seat, call somebody, get them on with us. We are going to go over some fantastic teaching that took place this Sunday and hopefully go a little bit deeper so that you have the tools that you need to live the life that you wish to live. Yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we're going to check every now and then to see if you're online. So help us out by typing something in the chat room. Type, I'm on live for the deeper dive. I'm on live for the deeper dive. And that way we'll know that you're on with us and we can acknowledge your presence, all right? Now, one of the things that we love to do, and one of the things that we always do first and foremost here at Unity of Sacramento, is pray in, because we know that prayer is the language of spirit, and we want to invoke and evoke the spirit in all that we do. So let's just take a moment right now to become still and to recognize that power and presence that we know as God, and we also know by many other names. It's that power and presence that allows us to be at one with and present in any and every moment. And so we give thanks to God for this power. We give thanks to God for this presence. We give thanks to God for this omniscience, this all-knowingness that is going to assist us in catching the revelation that is just for us, that will help guide us and lead us toward that place which we wish to be. Whatever that place is for you, maybe it's a place of peace, or a place of joy, a place of love, a place of strength, a place of power. Maybe for you, it's a place of employment. Maybe it's a place of right relationship. Maybe it's a place of zeal or a place of order. Whatever that place is for you, claim it. Claim it now, for it is available. The way you claim it is simply to be open and receptive to the moment. And we spiritualize our ears, our eyes. We spiritualize this moment that we are in. That whatever we hear, whatever we see, whatever we feel, we know that it is good and very good, for it is connected to the Spirit. It is connected to the now. Take a deep breath. And let's get ready for what Spirit reveals. We thank you, God. We thank you so much So I know that you watched and enjoyed
Absolutely.
Rev Kev probably at his best. This was one fantastic
Mm-hmm.
lesson sermon. What do you think? I don't
Wow.
want to. You might think differently.
Well, I have to agree with you. He was on
Right.
fire. The whole service was on
Mhm.
fire,
Yes.
right? Between the message, the music, of course, just the
Mhm.
energy of the whole place was it's amazing.
It really was. And so we get an opportunity to take a look at a few highlights. I pulled a few out of the lesson sermon. And
Right.
if you missed the lesson sermon, you need not worry. The lesson sermon is archived on our sites. You can go to our Facebook fan page, or you can go to our YouTube channel, and you can find it. Just look for the date, March 12th, and go ahead and play it. You play the whole thing, play the whole service. As Dr. Christie said, the whole service was just wonderful, amazing. But that lesson, you'll want to play it once or twice so that you can get the teachings that Rev Kev gave us. First of all, Rev Kev kind of surprised us. People didn't realize that he was going to be in town. So
Yeah, what a
uh,
treat, right?
yeah, so that was a treat.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he began to speak, we saw. Well, let me speak for myself. I saw the the influence of his Harvard study
Yeah.
at work. He's always been good,
Mm-hmm.
but there was another level that I saw him kind of creep up to. I think he has the time now um, to get those revelations that may not have been available otherwise. So let me stop talking.
Let's see for
Hear.
ourselves, right?
Yeah, let's see for ourselves.
Okay.
Let's take a look at the first highlight.
Good morning, Unity of Sacramento. It is good to be in the house today. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You all been doing the thing. I do want to take just a couple seconds to let you know you're doing it well. And we're feeling you. We're feeling you not only in Cambridge, Massachusetts at Harvard, but we're feeling you across the country, and people are still reveling in amazement at the spiritual community that love is building on Folsom Boulevard in Sacramento, California. For all the ways that you are holding this spiritual community and holding the light for this spiritual community and being the light that we send forth from the spiritual community, I give you thanks. We welcome any of you who are here with us for the first time, second time, or it's been a long time. We thank you for being in this spiritual community, and we expect today that you will go home better. Would that be all right with you? And know that our veterans here, the individuals who have been here for some time, will be happy to show you some good Unity of Sacramento hospitality. So we are actually in the Lenten season. Can you believe it? Was it January yesterday? We just had the Christmas concert, Carla said. Time does not stand still for any man, right? And so we are in the Lenten season, and for us here, we work with the Lenten season a special way, and so for some of you, this is going to be review this morning. For others of you, this is going to be new this morning. Tell somebody, get in where you fit in. Tell them, get in where you fit in. And for me, this means that I am in the home stretch to graduation. I graduate from Harvard Divinity School May 25th, 2023. So now, if you are thinking of someone to put on your prayer list, look no further, because they are not playing in those Harvard streets up there. But we are in the Lenten season, and I just want to put a context on it for those of us who are maybe new to Lent. We teach here that Lent is a season of mind fasting and soul feasting. What is it? Come on. A season of mind fasting and soul feasting. It is the 40-day period commemorating Jesus' experience in the wilderness, beginning with Ash Wednesday and culminating on Easter Sunday. Okay? And so it's that period of testing and overcoming that the master teacher took as he was preparing to begin his formal ministry. And in unity, when we are studying Scripture, when we're looking at the ancient text, we are not just looking at it with reference to the players of old, the characters from antiquity. But tell somebody nearby, and if you're in the live stream, type it in the chat room. This is your story. This is my story. Tell somebody, this is your story. This is my story. Now tell them, this is your journey. This is my journey. Come on, this is your journey. This is my journey. And so the Lenten season is our spiritual journey of mind fasting and soul feasting. And so I am going to assume that somewhere along the way you have started Lent back at Ash Wednesday. But just in case you have not, I want to bring us up a little bit as to how we can enter the on-ramp of this spiritual journey and prepare ourselves for our own resurrection, because that's where we're headed. We're headed to that place of overcoming.
Where are we headed? To that place of overcoming. We're headed to that place of overcoming. Have you made any commitments for the Lenten season?
To be honest,
To be honest.
I have not.
Okay.
I have not officially
All right.
done that yet, no.
All right, and not a problem. You have the opportunity now.
I do.
From what we learned from Sunday. And for many of you, you may not have made any Lenten commitments, because sometimes we make those commitments and we make them unprepared, not quite sure. We know we should do something, and so we might do something, but we don't go into it fully or ready for the results that we want, or have thought it through or planned it out. And that happens to me from time to time, too.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, I thought I'd do something different. I thought for the first time, Dr. Christie, for the first time,
What happened for the first time?
I'm giving up sugar for Lent.
Wow.
Now, this is a man who loves his chai in the morning.
Okay, how's it
And
been?
of course, that chai has probably 8 teaspoons of sugar in it, at least. It's a wonderful, wonderful drink. But I said, okay, I wonder what the difference will be after 40 days. And I'm already beginning to see and to feel the difference of that. And so that's a physical fast, of course. But as Rev Kev said, in unity, we just don't stop at the physical. We do a mind fast and a soul feast.
Right.
And so for many people, that might be something different, something new. What does a mind fast look like? Well, a mind fast is being very cognizant of the thoughts that we carry throughout the course of these 40 days. And so we often say that in Unity, we often say that LENT is an acronym that stands for Let's Eliminate Negative Thinking.
Right.
And that's the fasting part. But the feasting part, it would be the acronym LENT, Let's Employ a New Thought. And so kind of that denial affirmation activity that's going on, where we deny ourselves the negativity. And by deny, we don't mean clinically deny it, but we say we give no power to the negative. And then it creates a space for the positive to be affirmed and built up within our thoughts. And for whatever thoughts we have, the manifestation of those thoughts will soon come. And so, have you ever done a mind feast, mind fast, and a soul feast before?
I don't think officially, no. As you explain it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've talked about the definitely let's eliminate negative thinking here, but maybe less on the feasting part. Or maybe I've paid less attention to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rev has a wonderful way of looking at this, and he's going to explain it in this next highlight. And it's something that I think, and he had a revelation too. He had a revelation about one of those acronyms. So why don't we find out what that's all about?
Let's go.
All right.
The Lenten lesson that I want to offer today is leaning into love with Lent. Can you say it with me? Come on. Leaning into love with Lent. Leaning into love with Lent. I want to use this as the title of this message today because when we're following the journey of the master teacher, Jesus the Christ, whose central teaching was what? Now, you ought to know this, but I should be able to turn my back and hear the answer to this. Whose central teaching was? Love. All right. We're going to have a review after class. Yes, the central teaching is love. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God, come on, with all thy heart, thy soul, thy strength, and love thy neighbor as you love yourself. And then he commented that all of the laws and the prophets hang on this fundamental teaching called what? Love. And so as we are focusing on moving on this Lenten journey with the master teacher, Jesus the Christ, and allowing it to be our own spiritual journey, we want to focus on what he was teaching about through every action. Is that right? To give you a working definition of love, that again is a review for some and new for others, but I said I want you to do what? Get in. Come on, where you fit in. We teach in Unity that love is the idea in divine mind, or in the mind of God, of universal oneness. It is the unifying, harmonizing, magnetizing, binding, and attracting force in the universe. John said that God is, what about it? Love. So anytime we are talking about love, we're not talking about your feelings. Let me walk way back. We're not talking about your set of emotions. We are actually talking about God expressing as the harmonizing, unifying, magnetizing, attracting, binding, and cementing power in the universe. Tell somebody, don't get it twisted. Sometimes we think our emotions are love. Can you imagine if the whole universe had to function on the stability of your emotional state? You're talking about climate change. But we're talking about a universal spiritual principle that we equate with God. God is. So Jesus was always teaching God. Jesus was always showing God. Jesus was always expressing God as love. And so during this mind fasting, soul feasting experience in Lent, we want to center love. We want to lean into love. What are we going to do? Come on, we want to lean in to love. Now, to do this, we'll provide a couple more definitions and an insight that I recently got about Lent. Around this time, we're normally telling you, as a mnemonic device, as a way to remember that you're having this Lenten journey, that Lent is an acronym that states L-E-N-T. What about it? Come on. Let's eliminate negative thinking. Try it again. Let's eliminate negative thinking. That's what we say it represents. And then on the other hand, we say, because in Unity we teach not only that we should deny negativity, but we should affirm the positive. We deny by elimination, and then we affirm by affirmation. What do? We deny through, come on, elimination, and affirm through, again, we deny through, and we affirm through. So let's employ new thoughts is the other side of that Lent acronym. What is it? Come on. Let's employ new thoughts. Now, I recognize that if I'm completely honest with myself, I have not truly been successful at completely eliminating negative thinking. Anybody in here can confess? Oh, look at you, raising them already up. And I said, God, should I tell him to do this again this year? What shall I say? And here is something that I got as an insight in preparing this lesson. Tell somebody, this is the new thing. This is the new thing. This is new. Rather than suggesting to you, let's eliminate negative thinking, let's elevate negative thinking. Say with me, let's elevate negative thinking. Elevation. And the reason is that you and I, when we're operating in the spirit of love, can transmute the lower frequencies of life and raise it to the higher frequencies of life and have it be returned to you in a form that you can use. Are you with me? So we want to take those lower frequencies and do what? Raise them, transmute them in the light of love, and then love transforms it into something you can use. Is that all right? So during...
All right. That is phenomenal. I never thought of it that way. What's your thought on this revelation of
Well,
Rev Ken?
first of all, I'm like, why'd you stop it? Right? There's so much more to it. But I think it's brilliant, right? This idea of transmutation, and which is a principle I think we're familiar with, but not maybe having used it in this way,
Yes.
right?
And I love the fact that he's grounded in what this is all about. It's not about elevating Jesus. It's not about it's about having our own resurrection. And he did mention that. But he also told us that everything that we do, we want to follow the example that Jesus gave us, and everything that Jesus did was in love.
That's right.
Everything he did was about elevating God as love. Everything he did was about elevating love as the healing power, elevating love as the source of his ministry, the work of his ministry. And so it gives us some foundation. Okay, what am I doing this? Am I doing Lent in order to lose a few pounds? That's a nice goal if you have it, but and that could be a way of loving oneself.
Right.
But the key is the love. How do we operate in our lives, in this world, on the earth? Is it in love? And so that was the grounds for everything that followed. So if that's what it is that we're doing, then what is love? And he describes that. It's the unifying, harmonizing, magnetizing, cementing. He used probably a few other adjectives in there. Power of God expressing in us in many different ways. So love is the idea in God's mind of universal oneness, the things that brings it all together. And this is where, and the harmonizing power of love is, I think, where he received his revelation. Because that harmonizing power has the ability to take something that is out of harmony and bring it into harmony. It has the power to take something of lower frequency and bring it into the higher frequencies. When I used to teach years ago, we would bring up these wonderful examples, and one of those examples was the idea that a higher frequency, if you had something that was operating in a high frequency, and then you had something that was operating in a low frequency, something about that high frequency that would bring the low frequency into balance with it. And that was the power of the high frequency. And that highest frequency that we know of is love. And so it makes sense that rather than to push ourselves to eliminate negative thinking, to deny negative thinking, why not elevate the negative thinking by being love? Bring whatever is negative into the light of love. Bring whatever is of the lower frequency into the midst of the higher frequency. Now, there is some, I love the Bible, so whenever I hear something like that, my mind just goes back to these stories that I've heard all my life. And there's one story about Jesus coming down the way, and in front of him was this man who had demons in him. And so Jesus came closer, and the demons that were in him caught wind of Jesus coming. They could feel the way we would put it is they could feel Jesus's higher frequencies coming into the space. And so they immediately said, and this is my imagination, Jesus.
Just like that.
Something like, oh. I've been watching these horror films with my kids and stuff, so, playing with it. Jesus, we cannot stay within your presence. If you say so, we command us to go into the pigs, and we will go into the pigs. And Jesus said, yeah, get on into the pigs. And so they come out of the man and go into the pigs. And then the pigs, they start having a hissy fit of some sort, and they start running toward a cliff, and they all run off the cliff. It's in there. It's in the scripture.
I remember that.
Do you remember that story?
I do.
Okay, and of course we call that suicide, but but I will leave that one with you. So that's an example of this vibrational quality of light and love coming into the space, and when it is before something of a lower vibration, the lower vibration must transmute or it must leave. It cannot stay, and it cannot continue to be what it is. And so it just makes some wonderful sense to look at Lent in this light now. Like he said, it is indeed the new thing. Is there anything else that you saw, you heard in that little highlight that?
No, I think you captured it. There was definitely the emphasis on love. That really stood out. Like, yeah, that's the key.
That's the key. That's the key. So then Rev goes into the scripture himself, and he says, okay, let's look at what love is, and let's allow our Lenten practice, because here's the thing about New Thought, here's the thing about unity. Unity calls itself, another way that they call themselves is practical Christianity. It must be practical, something you can use, something you can practice, and something you can apply. So I think this was genius as well. Rev says, let's see how we can operate in this love. Yeah. And he sets us up for the homework. And I got that highlight ready to go. Okay. Let's take a look.
Go in on verses 4, 5, 6, and 7. I am going to zero in on 4 verses of this one passage. If I speak in the tongues of men or angels but do not have love, I am a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all my possessions to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. All right, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is where the work is. You ready? Love is patient. All right, we're done. That just eliminated half the church right there. Remember those games we used to play on the playground in school, and you get tagged out? Some of us just got tagged out just right then. You're out. Here it is, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongdoing. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always perseveres. That was 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's your homework. Love. So as we're moving with this soul fasting, mind fasting and soul feasting, let's play with these dynamics just a little bit. Can we do it just a little bit? We are fasting from, so anything in this passage, I want us to work with spiritually, okay? And to do that spiritually, it doesn't mean you sit in your meditation chair and do all these things. You do it on the move. Do you get that? You're doing this in your real life. Have you got it? I'm not saying don't meditate. I'm not saying don't pray. But it doesn't count till it works out in your life. Have you got it? So the definition, the working definition for love is laid out right here in this passage. And we are saying that we're doing spiritual fasting, soul feasting. And so the thing that we are fasting from is the opposite of what the text says here. So where it says love is patient, I am fasting from being what? Come on. I'm fasting from what being? So when I catch myself being impatient, I've stepped out of I've broken my fast. Did you hear what I said? Reb, no, that's just way. Is that hard? Is that hard? Is that good or is that good though? So I want to look at it and I want to say, what is patience? Patience is not tolerance. It's not putting up with. Patience is a broad stroke of trust. What is it? Come on. It is a broad stroke of trust that everything is working out for my good. Say with me, everything is working out for my good. Have you ever seen those folks driving in traffic and they speeding by and quirting and all this sort of movement, rough movement with their cars only to rush up to the red light? Well, look at you. You made it. To the same place where the rest of us are. It is a broad stroke of what? Trust. I trust that everything is working out for my highest good and greatest joy. I trust that in this moment right now, that things, and hear this, things are precisely the way they need to be in this moment, in this particular moment. So I give a broad stroke of trust. When I'm doing this, I'm feasting on trust. Have you got it? I'm feasting on what the whole purpose of this is, which is to cement my spiritual relationship with God. We're not just doing this so that we can have a spiritual behavior modification program at Unity of Sacramento. The whole point of taking ourselves through this journey is so that I may more and more and more become indivisible with my source. Parts of me that are contradictory to the source start to fall away. And those parts of me that are commensurate with the source start to emerge and expand.
Okay. I think you got it. So now the work begins. I'm going to go back just a little bit, if I may.
Please.
It's that wonderful definition of love. Love is the idea in God's mind of universal oneness. That's the first part of it. And love harmonizes, unifies, cements, binds.
Right.
That's what love does, the power of love. Then there's a third part of that definition.
Mhm.
And the third part says, and it functions as, or it expresses as, and this is where things like goodwill, love expresses itself as goodwill. When you see goodwill, you know love is in play.
Mhm.
It expresses itself as loving kindness. When you see loving kindness expressed, you know love is in play.
Mhm.
And then if we were to go to this wonderful piece of scripture, 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, we see love is patient. So love expresses as patience. When we see patience in play, we know that love is in play. What does patience look like for you? When you see in which ways have you seen patience of late?
Have I seen it or applied it?
Or
Or
applied it?
needed it?
Either way.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Well, I have daughters
Mm-hmm.
and love them very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I've needed to apply patience. I don't want to give away any names or anything. So, but one of my daughters who recently it feels like is not being as loving and forgiving and understanding of a good friend as I would have hoped that she was. And so it was this kind of dance for me of wanting to be patient because, it's her life and her relationship and all of that, and yet really wanting to kind of do the shake and ache and be like, come on now, you know better, right? You can do better. You can love harder than this. And so it required some patience on my part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking of my children as well when I saw that word patience. So I'm saying this and I'm asking these questions of you so that our viewers can ask the question of themselves. What does patience look like for you in your life? Where in your life can you be more patient? Where in your life would love as patience, expressing as patience, transmute situations in your life? Have you got it? And so what if you could continue to exhibit patience for 40 days? To feast on patience, which means to fast from impatience. So you see that this is very practical. And as we continue to commit to it and have the intention around it and be mindful of it, then suddenly we begin to see a change maybe out there, but particularly and specifically within ourselves. And so the way we are interacting with the universe all of a sudden shifts as well. And we begin to, here comes love again, attracting, harmonizing, unifying, cementing, drawing the good into our lives, and elevating exponentially the good that we are and the good that is available to everyone. And this is what Jesus was teaching us. This is what Jesus exhibited himself. I almost said herself. Did you hear that? Okay, something there. All right. So I'm going to ask again. I'm going to go to the next one. It said that in our scripture, it said that love is also kind. So clearly, we'll be fasting from being unkind. And I remember Rev said fasting from being nice as well. Did you catch that?
Oh, I missed that.
Did you miss that? He mentioned that kind, and he was making a distinction. He was saying that to be kind is not to be nice. They're different. Being nice in his definition, um, is to be egotistical, because niceness, people tend to be nice in order to exhibit themselves, to show themselves off as being nice. Kindness, however, has more of an authenticity to it, being kind. And so, what does kindness look like to you, Dr. Christie? How does it show up?
I think it shows up in lots of different ways. You know, it can be a text, you know, from a friend just saying, "Hey, what's up? I was thinking about you." It can be, an example, might feel a little bit like tooting my horn, but it really kind of came as an opportunity to serve. But I went to a farmer's market near my home, here in Elk Grove, or our place, right? Just happened to stop by Saturday and was like, "Oh, I'm going to get some fresh veggies." And so I did that as I was continuing to run errands, and I heard a couple next to me saying, "Oh, you don't take any electronic forms of payment?" And the person was like, "No, we don't." And I'm like, "You sure nothing?" And they said, "Yeah, no." And they were like, "Oh, well, we're going to put all this stuff back." And I was like, "Wait a minute. Let me pay for these folks," as kind of pay it forward, right? And so I paid for their food. It was like $10.50, and they were so grateful, right? And they were like, "Oh my gosh, we'll Venmo you." And I'm like, let me just gift this to you. And to me, that just felt like a moment where I could be kind, and it wasn't gonna like cost me that much, whether it was time, energy, money, and that I could bless someone. And so.
Yeah, excellent example. And as you were talking and giving the example, the word thoughtfulness came to mind. How thoughtful to do such a thing. And when we're thoughtful like that, and things are elevated. Gratitude came into the room, and a sense of oneness was affirmed, and it just has this wonderful response, this wonderful domino effect. Yes. Oh, that's fantastic. So I'm asking you, what does kindness look like to you, and how can you exhibit kindness in your sphere, in your life, in your world, in your affairs? Where can you be more thoughtful about things going on around you, knowing that once your thoughtfulness is received, it has the power to transform, to transmute, to elevate, to do all those things that we said love does, to harmonize, to bind, to create something new and exciting and fresh and wonderful, to cement things, to draw good into your life, and so on and so forth. And to do something that can create a new habit within your own self, your own soul, something to feast on. And of course, the more that you're kind, the less likely that you will be unkind. Yes? All right, good. Are you enjoying this game that
Yes,
I have?
am.
Are you ready for another one?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. It says here that, oh, now this is an interesting one. Love does not envy. Love does not envy. So let's see. So we will clearly fast from envy. But what would be the opposite of envy?
The opposite of envy.
Mhm.
We would want to feast on the opposite of envy,
We
which
would-
would be
Mhm.
like celebration of someone
Yeah,
else,
an
acknowledgement,
appreciation,
Mhm.
acknowledgement,
honoring,
honoring, yes,
celebrating.
yes, celebrating.
Mhm.
So we want to, love celebrates, love honors. Oh, this is so good. I love this. All right. So, what does honoring and celebrating look like for you? And while Dr. Christie is answering, you're not off the hook. I'm coming to you next, so start thinking about what it looks like for you as well.
Again, I think I come up with ideas in some ways that are very simple. You know, and honoring can be an acknowledgement of something well done, which is a thank you, right? Or I noticed that you did. But honoring can also be in a celebration of a big accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
It can be let's go out and celebrate because you had whatever, a successful, exam, or let's go out and celebrate because it's your birthday or it's your anniversary, right? So I think there's a range of ways that we can honor each other and that we can celebrate things from big to small.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so Dr. Christie gave you the example, the shining example. What are your examples? What does honoring and acknowledging and celebrating someone look like for you? How could it show up in your life? How could you do it such that you are true to your Lenten commitment in being love during these next few weeks as we work toward our own personal resurrection? Do you see what we are resurrecting here? Do you see what we're building up? Do you see what should come forth come Easter Sunday? This is the work, and the work doesn't necessarily have to be something bodily. It can be something spiritual that you work on as well, something that you work on mindfully, something that you work on mentally. Yes? All right. One more? All right, we're going to do one more. One more, and then I think everybody's got the idea. And you can take this scripture and continue to work on and ask the important questions, but work on oneself, work on yourself in feasting on love and fasting from that which is unlike love. All right. It does not boast. Love does not boast. So obviously we would be fasting from boasting.
And the opposite of boasting is?
Let's think about that. What is the opposite of boasting? That would be humility, wouldn't it? To do something that is in excellence, but not for one's own self-absorption. Did I say that right?
You did.
That makes sense? So,
And guess what?
what?
I'm going to flip the script on us. I'm going to flip the script. Ravi, why don't you answer the question this time? What might be an example of one not boasting, but operating in humility?
Yes. And so, in my life, that would be, well, let me start with the fasting. Fasting from the boasting. So sometimes I find myself playing game night, and of course it can get very competitive.
So it makes it fun.
Yes, and that's of course makes it fun. But whether it's cards or a board game, and you probably have experienced this yourself, the part of the fun of that is to have quote unquote bragging rights, to be able to put it in a person's face that you got the better of them. And of course, that can lead to certain feelings of resentfulness or heighten the competition, what have you. If you know it's all in fun, that's one thing.
Right.
But to be mindful of people's feelings is another. And I don't know about you, but I've come out of certain games of feeling some kind of way when I've lost. I've had that experience, and it's not a good feeling. What if I worked on my humility to be a good sport in those situations, where if I win, and I often do, see, that's boasting.
It is boasting.
But when I win, to find a way to compliment, and appreciate the competition. Wow, that was a close game. You had an incredible hand. I was lucky to get out of that one, and to do so authentically. Not to make it, gee, you really had me there.
Right.
Not that way, but in a way that that allows people to retain their dignity. And I think I can do that.
I think you can.
Yeah. All right. Did I do well on that?
You did.
Okay, great. Good example?
It was great.
All right. Okay, so what's your example? All right. How can you do less boasting? All right. Fasting from boasting, and display more loving humility. Graciousness might be another way of putting it. Isn't God gracious?
All the time.
All right. And so graciousness is a function of love. It's an expression of love. How can you be gracious in those moments? All right. You've got it now. You see how the process works. And so tomorrow, wake up and read 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter. And then do some concentration, some meditation, some reflection, some introspection around 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, the 4th through the 7th verses. Get that in your spirit, as they say. And then go into your day and think about ways in which you can elevate the negative by affirming and expressing love in all of the wonderful ways that is displayed in those verses. Have you got it? You know what you're up to? You know what you're going to do? Let's be mindful of that. This is the homework for the deeper dive. And let's see how deep you can go with it. Let's see if you can prove to yourself, for yourself, the power of love when you become it. And when you become it and you begin to draw and harmonize and to through your good works, begin to see love in action in such a way, then you know that you're doing exactly what Jesus did, what Jesus was showing. In your own unique, unrepeatable way. That's what I love about it. Jesus said, the things I do, you too shall do, and even greater things shall you do, which means that even as well as he created and expressed God, you can express God in your own individualized way and have an impact on the world, being a force for good in the world. Anything that you'd like to add, Dr. Christie?
Let us just move from here in love, in absolute love.
Terrific. You've got your homework. And there's one other thing that we want you to do. We want you to get ready for the blessing of our tithes and our offerings for the Thursday Night Live Deeper Dive. Has this been helpful? Have we given you something that you can apply in your life? And here's the other piece. Knowing that there is a beloved community that is applying it with you. You're not in it alone. You're not the only one. There is a community, a unity community, filled with people who are practicing the presence of God just like you will be. And if that is something that is useful, if that is something that is of value to you, then won't you bless this wonderful ministry so that we can expand and grow and draw unto us people of like-mindedness, people who are looking for a place like this one. Your contribution helps us to do that. It helps us to pay the bills around here, certainly. But it also helps us to expand on the ministry, to grow the ministry, and to put messages like this one out into the world where people will be drawn to it, find us, and know that they belong, and that there's something about them that can be affirmed and that can help the world be a better place for everyone. That world that works for all that we always talk about. And so there are wonderful ways that you can give to this ministry. We're going to show you just a few of them right now.
Visit our website at www.unityofsacramento.com. Right there at the top of the front page, you will see a donation button. Click there to visit our safe and secure push-pay portal. Another easy way to give is through our Unity of Sacramento app. Download the app on your smartphone or tablet, and on the front page, look toward the bottom of the page for your giving heart, which will also take you to our push-pay portal. You can also write us. Send your letters to Unity of Sacramento, 9249 Folsom Boulevard, Sacramento, California, 95826. And of course, you can always make your donation by using Venmo or Cash App, as seen on your screen.
All right, so we thank you, whether you've chose one or all of those wonderful ways to give to Unity of Sacramento. We appreciate your generosity, and we want to bless you. And the way that we do that is I'm going to raise my hand and allow the power and the presence of God to go through the camera, to go through the live stream and touch your life. Let the energy of love touch you, knowing that divine love in and through you and me can bless and multiply all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. We know this to be so, and we say thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. And amen. Wow. That was a fast hour. Oh, my goodness.
It did. And I think we're even a little over.
Yes,
So-
yes. And so if you want more, good people, we invite you to come to the community here at Unity of Sacramento. Come to the campus and get some of this in person. We are open now. And even on Sundays after the lesson sermon, we have our famous coffee clutch conversations. So whoever is speaking, they are going to spend another 15, 20 minutes with you as you can get your coffee and whatever delight that you have from the Savvy House coffee bar that we have in our friendship hall. and then sit down with the minister, sit down with the speaker, and get your questions answered. At least 10 to 15, 20 minutes worth. We're not going to stay all day, but you've got other things to do, and our ministers need to get some rest after preaching. But I'm excited about that. And so look what we have. We have our lesson sermons on Sunday. We have the coffee clutch following the service.
Right afterwards. What a treat.
We have the Thursday night live Deeper Dive. And if you want to go all the way, you can enter and register for a class. For we are now having our classes online. You can register if you're interested in finding out how to do that. Simply connect with us at uosedu@unityofsacramento.com. Say, I want to register for some classes and learn more about this truth. And we will guide you in the right direction. Look at that. We're doing the thing.
Let's do it.
And so we thank you so much for being with us for this wonderful hour. And we want to leave you with our unity prayer for protection, knowing that the light of God surrounds you, the love of God enfolds you, the power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, in time, place, space, situations, or circumstances, know that God is and all is well. Dr. Christie, you've been a delight as you always are. Thank you so much
Agreed.
for being here this evening. And we'll see you next Thursday on Thursday Night Live,
Listen to me.
The Deeper Dive. Peace and blessings, everyone. Bye for now.